Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Vlog Podcast. Today is Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. Today I'm going to pick the semifinal game in the FIFA between France and Belgium, go over yesterday's baseball action, look at tonight's action, talk about the NBA Summer League a little bit, go over those scores from last night, discuss a big injury to one of the National League's surprises, and go over the worst baseball moves since 2013 by everything. All right. 2 o'clock on Fox, France, Belgium. This is a very hard call. Belgium has been one of the surprises of the tournament so far. I just think France is the more talented team. So give me France to move on to the final as Belgium sends their bags packing. And I'll pick tomorrow's game on tomorrow's podcast. Baseball, a lot of games yesterday because there was 2 doubleheaders. The Orioles defeated the Yankees 5-4 in Game 1 of that doubleheader as they improved to 25-65 to stop a 6-game losing streak. The Yankees dropped to 58-30. Mike Wright Jr. improves to 2-0. CC Sabathia drops to 6-4. Zach Britton gets his second save of the year. The Mets defeated the Phillies 4-3 in 10 innings on a walk-off home run by Wilmer Flores as they improved to 36-51. Philly drops to 49-39. Tim Peterson improves to 2-0. Victor Arano drops to 1-1. The Pirates defeated the Nationals 6-3. I had the Nats on the podcast. I was wrong. Pittsburgh improves to 42-48. Washington drops to 45-45. Ivan Nova improves to 5-6. Jeffrey Rodriguez drops to 0-1. Felipe Vasquez gets his 19th save of the season. The Yankees defeated the Orioles 10-2 in Game 2 of their doubleheader as they improved to 59-30. Baltimore drops to 25-66. Luis Cessa improves to 1-1. That was his best start in the big leagues. Jeffrey Ramirez drops to 0-3. Giovanni Gallegos gets the 3-inning save, his first of the season. The Red Sox defeated the Rangers 5-0 as they improve to 63-29. That's the best record in baseball. Texas drops to 40-52. Eduardo Rodriguez improves to 11-3. Mike Minor drops to 6-5. The Reds defeated the Indians 7-5 as they improve to 40-51. Cleveland drops to 49-40. Anthony DeSclafani improves to 4-1. Mike Clevenger drops to 7-4. Raciel Iglesias gets his 18th save of the season. The Marlins defeated the Brewers in 10 innings 4-3 on a walk-off hit by Brian Holiday as they improve to 38-55. Milwaukee drops to 54-37. Brad Ziegler improves to 1-5. Corey Neville drops to 2-1. The Rays defeated the Tigers 10-9 in 10 innings on a walk-off RBI single by Daniel Robertson as they improved to 46-44. Detroit drops to 40-53. Matt Andriese improves to 2-3. Blaine Hardy drops to 3-2. The Phillies defeated the Mets 3-1 in Game 2 of their doubleheader as they improved to 50-39. The Mets dropped to 36-52. Aaron Nola improves to 12-2. Corey Oswalt drops to 0-2. Victor Arano gets his 3rd save of the season. The Twins defeated the Royals 3-1 as they improved to 40-48. KC drops to 25-65. Jose Barrios improves to 9-7. Tim Hill drops to 1-3. Fernando Rodney gets his 20th save of the season. The Athletics defeated the Astros 2-0 as they improved to 51-40. Houston drops to 61-32. Frankie Montas improves to 5-2. Brad Peacock drops to 1-4. Blake Treinen gets his 23rd save of the season. The Dodgers defeated the Padres 8-2 as they improved to 49-41. San Diego drops to 39-54. Clayton Kershaw improves to 3-2. Luis Perdomo drops to 1-3. The Giants defeated the Cubs 2-1 in 11 innings as they improved to 48-45. Chicago drops to 51-37. It was a walk-off single by Pablo Sandoval that won the game for the Giants. Ty Black improves to 6-5. Steve Chizik drops to 2-1. Tonight's games: 7 o'clock, Yankees, Orioles. Masahiro Tanaka coming off the disabled list against Andrew Kashner. Nationals, Pirates. Jeremy Hellickson and Joe Musgrove. Rangers, Red Sox. Yovani Gallardo against Hector Velasquez. Reds, Indians. Sal Romano and Trevor Bauer. Phillies, Mets. Aniel De Los Santos making his big league debut against Drew Gagnon making his big league debut. So that's going to be interesting. Brewers, Marlins. Julius Chassin against Pablo Lopez. Tigers, Rays. Matthew Boyd and Matt Andrees. So Andrees is going to be the opener after closing the game for the Rays yesterday. Blue Jays, Braves. Marcus Stroman and Julio Teheran. 8 o'clock, Cardinals, White Sox. Miles Mikolas and Dylan Covey. Royals, Twins on Fox Sports 1. Ian Kennedy and Aaron Slegers. I believe it's going to be Kenny Albert, Tom Verducci, and maybe either Ken Rosenthal or John Paul Morosi on the call. Give me the Twins. They're just better than the Royals this season. And I don't think it's that close because the Royals are one of the few teams that are tanking in this league. At least the Twins, they're trying a little bit, even though I think they're going to be a seller at the deadline. Athletics, Astros. Sean Manaea and Justin Verlander. That's a fun pitching matchup. 8:40, Diamondbacks, Rockies. Patrick Corbin and Tim Anderson. 10 o'clock, Cubs, Giants. Jose Quintana and Johnny Cueto. Mariners, Angels. Mike Leake and Garrett Richards. And Dodgers, Padres, Rich Hill and Eric Lauer. All right, MEA Summer League. I want to go over the scores from last night in the Vegas League. The Pistons defeated the Pelicans 105-97. Henry Ellenson had a great game, 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists in the win. Cheick Diallo, 25 points in defeat. The Thunder defeated the Raptors 92-82. Rashawn Thomas, 17 points in the win. OG Anunoby, 19 in defeat. The Cavs defeated the Pacers 93-88. Cedi Osman, 25 in the win. TJ Leaf, 20 in defeat. The Wizards defeated the 76ers 87-75. Troy Brown, 23 in the win. That's a good sign. He was their first-round pick. Chris McCullough, 20 in defeat. The Celtics defeated the Hornets 100-80. Jared Utoff, 16 in the win. Miles Bridges, 20 in defeat. The Mavericks defeated the Warriors 91-71. Phil Green IV, 16 in the win. Josh Magette had only 10 in defeat. The Nuggets defeated the Bucks 90-83. Monte Morris, 20 in the win. Sterling Brown, 27 in defeat. The Suns defeated the Magic 71-53. DeAndre Ayton, 17 points, 13 rebounds in the win. He was outstanding. Jonathan Isaac only had 10 in defeat. The Timberwolves defeated the Nets 78-69. Jared Terrell, 13 in the win, and Yuta Watanabe, 14 in defeat. The Rockets defeated the Clippers 104-90. I think that's the first time in the Summer League that I've seen a team hit over 100 this year. DeAnthony Melton, 26 in the win. I think Melton can have an impact off the bench for the Rockets this year, believe it or not. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 25 in defeat. All right, now we're going to discuss one big injury in terms of one of the National League's perhaps biggest surprise team other than the Atlanta Braves, and that's the San Francisco Giants. Buster Posey is out due to a hip injury. The replacement is Yadier Molina. I don't think it's as deserved as people think because there's already 2 catchers on the National League roster, and I thought there was a couple position players that weren't catchers, such as outfielders like Corey Dickerson, that gotten snubbed. But yeah, Molina's having his best offensive season in terms of power in a long time. And I think they probably wanted to get another Cardinal on there. So I understand why they put Molina, and plus he's also a catcher. But yeah, he was the next best catching option if one of those guys were to get hurt. But I personally would have kept Wilson Contreras and JT Realmuto on the team and would have went with somebody like Corey Dickerson, who was snubbed. All right, now I'm going to go over the worst Major League Baseball moves by every team since 2013 while continuing this 8-podcast long segment of the best and the worst of the 4 professional sports. The Arizona Diamondbacks' worst move is obvious. Trading for Shelby Miller. They gave up a lot to get him, and he's been an absolute disaster in a Diamondbacks uniform. The Atlanta Braves not bringing back Brian McCann. They let him go for nothing after the 2013 season, and they really haven't gotten production from the catcher position since he left. In fairness, they did trade Evan Gattis, but they got one of the more improved starters in the National League in Mike Falta-Units, part of the deal. So I can't fault them for that. But McCann really loved playing in Atlanta, and he was a big part of that team before they went into their rebuild. And right now their catching situation is a platoon of Kurt Suzuki and Tyler Flowers, which Brian McCann's better than both of those guys. Although McCann's on the DL right now, I just think that he would have still been a nice fit in Atlanta. The Baltimore Orioles signing Ubaldo Jimenez, that was one of the bigger flop contracts given out by a team after a pitcher had a career year. The Boston Red Sox, this is easy, signing Pablo Sandoval. Sandoval was a dumpster fire in Boston. They released him outright. Boston's still paying him, by the way. And now he's back with the San Francisco Giants, absolutely thriving. The Chicago Cubs signing Jason Hayward. Yes, Hayward's had a nice year this year, but he's not the player that people thought he was going to be in Chicago, and he's not living up to that contract. The White Sox trading for James Shields. This could change if a contender or somebody else overpays for James Shields at the trade deadline this year. He's actually had a decent year by his standards compared to his recent seasons with the White Sox. They gave up a highly touted prospect for James Shields, and they probably regret that right now. The Cincinnati Reds not getting proper value back for Aroldis Chapman or Johnny Cueto. The best prospect they got in those 2 deals was Brandon Finnegan, who hasn't been good as a Cincinnati Red. The Cleveland Indians trading Clint Frazier away in the Andrew Miller deal. Clint Frazier could very well end up being a superstar, or he could just end up being an above-average player. And I think Cleveland made a mistake in dealing away Clint Frazier because their outfield situation is not great outside of Michael Brantley. The Colorado Rockies, and by the way, Brantley's in a contract year this year. The Rockies signing Ian Desmond. Yes, Desmond had a resurgent month of June, but Desmond just wasn't a fit on the Rockies. Detroit Tigers signing Jordan Zimmerman. Yes, Zimmerman actually hasn't been bad this season, but that contract's an atrocity. Astros drafting Mark Appel in 2013 over Chris Bryant and Aaron Judge. That's going to go down as the worst mistake that the Astros have made in this era. Because can you imagine if they had Aaron Judge instead of Mark Appel? They would have had George Springer, Aaron Judge, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, and Carlos Correa on the same team. And the other thing is, if they had Chris Bryant, then they wouldn't have had Alex Bregman. So let's just say, what if they picked Aaron Judge? And I just listed all the guys that they would have had if they'd chosen Judge over Mark Appel, who ended up being a bust. Kansas City Royals giving up Sean Manaea in the Ben Zobrist trade. I don't think the Royals thought Sean Manaea was going to be that good, so they took advantage of his trade value, and turns out that they overpaid for Ben Zobrist. Yes, I get it. Zobrist helped them win a World Series, but Manaea threw a no-hitter for Oakland this year against the team with the best record in baseball. And Manaea is having the best year of his career. And right now, Manaea would have been either trade bait for the Royals or the ace of that rotation. Or maybe they're not in the tanking situation that they're in if Sean Manaea is on their roster. The Los Angeles Angels trading away Sean Newcomb in the Andrelton Simmons trade. Newcomb's having the best year of his career this year. Yeah, he was rocked the last 2 times he pitched, but he is a key starter in the Braves rotation, and LA must be kicking themselves that they trade away a top 3 starter in a trade for a guy that has actually done a good job in an Angels uniform, so I can't entirely fault that, but they probably traded the wrong guy for Andrelton Simmons. I'd rather have Sean Newcomb right now than Andrelton Simmons. That's my point. The Los Angeles Dodgers not improving their bullpen the last few years. They had opportunities to go out and improve their bullpen. 2 years ago, they could have gotten Aroldis Chapman or Andrew Miller. The Yankees could have gotten back Cody Bellinger or Alex Verdugo or somebody along those lines back in return, but they opted not to do that. And another guy that the Dodgers could have gone out and got last year was Sean Doolittle, who's been a stud for the Nationals since joining DC's team. But not improving the bullpen the last couple of years cost the Dodgers perhaps a World Series or 2. The Miami Marlins not getting enough for Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton's turned his year around after a slow start in April to his Yankees tenure, and now finds himself on the final 5 list for the American League All-Star ballot. He has 22 homers on the year. The Yankees pretty much got him for Starlin Castro, and that's pretty much it. And another solid pitching prospect was in there. But Miami could have gotten much more for Giancarlo Stanton if they traded him to another team. And Stanton fell in the Yankees' lap, and the Yankees took advantage. The Milwaukee Brewers failing to get an ace. This is going to change if they do one at the trade deadline, which I think they will. But not getting an ace in the offseason may come back to haunt them if they don't get one at the trade deadline. The Minnesota Twins signing Young-Ho Park. Young-Ho Park was a gigantic bust. He had 1 good month in the big leagues. The New York Mets signing Jason Vargas. He's been an atrocity for the Mets this season. They signed him to a 2-year deal. And he's perhaps been baseball's worst starting pitcher this season. The New York Yankees, this one's easy, signing Jacoby Ellsbury. This is the worst contract in baseball right now. He has not even stepped on the field this year. I don't think he will see the field this year. He is a liability to this Yankees team because he is a diminished player who just isn't good anymore. And the Yankees know it. And guys like Aaron Hicks and even Clint Frazier deserve playing time over Jacoby Ellsbury right now. Oakland Athletics trading Josh Donaldson when they did. This was a massive mistake by Oakland. They could have kept them after the 2014 season and maybe traded him after the 2015 season and could have gotten a lot more for him. Instead, they get Franklin Barreto, who has a bust reputation among people in the athletics organization, as well as Kendall Graveman, the pitcher. They could have gotten a lot more for that. The Philadelphia Phillies, waiting too long to start the rebuild. They should have started to do this in the 2013-2014 offseason, but instead they signed veterans to some multi-year contracts like Marlon Byrd and guys like that. And then they kicked off their rebuild and got some nice players in return for guys that they traded. They got some steals. They've won a lot of trades recently. Cole Hamels deal. They got back Jorge Alfaro and Nick Williams, and I believe Jared Eichhoff. They got Vince Velasquez and the Ken Giles deal. Yes, all their trades ended up working out in the long haul. Now they're a contender in the National League today, but they should have done it earlier, or else they could have gotten something more back for guys like Ryan Howard and Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins. Although they won those trades in the long run, especially the Cole Hamels deal, which they got 2 starting players for their roster. And who knows, maybe they trade for Cole Hamels this summer. The Pittsburgh Pirates not trading Andrew McCutchen when his value was higher in 2016. The Giants pretty much didn't give anything away for Andrew McCutchen this past winter. His value was a lot higher in 2016, and a team like the Nationals could have traded for him then. And maybe Juan Soto is a Pittsburgh Pirate right now, if they did that. The St. Louis Cardinals trading for Jason Hayward because Hayward was a Cardinal not for very long. Then they let him go as a free agent, let him sign with the Chicago Cubs. They gave up Shelby Miller for him, ironically enough, and Miller was good in a Cardinals uniform. That's when he pitched his best. And I believe they gave up Jaime Garcia in that deal, who isn't that good of a pitcher. He's just a stopgap veteran. The San Diego Padres trading for Matt Kemp. Yes, this is going to hurt the Padres because they traded away Yasmani Grandal and others to get Kemp. I believe Zach Eflin was in that deal. He went from San Diego to LA, and in LA shipped him to Philadelphia for Jimmy Rollins. So 2 teams gave up on Zach Eflin before he became a pretty good pitcher on this rising Phillies team. But Kemp was not good as a member of the Padres, and then the Padres shipped him off to Atlanta, and then Atlanta shipped him back to the Dodgers, and now Kemp's thriving with the Dodgers again. The San Francisco Giants giving up Adam Duvall in the Mike Leake trade. This was a massive mistake by the Giants. The Giants, I think, would be in a much better position right now if they kept Adam Duvall. Duvall had 2 great years for the Reds, even though he struggled this season. And Mike Leake walked at the end of the year for the Giants, and he signed with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals traded him to Seattle. And it's been pretty good as a Mariner. And speaking of the Mariners, they're next. And for me, it's trading away Taijuan Walker. I really like Taijuan Walker. Yes, I think they are the winners of that deal because they end up with 2 starters in Gene Segura and Mitch Haniger. And Walker is on the 60-day DL due to Tommy John surgery. But I think Walker, once he comes back from TJ surgery, is going to be a stud. And maybe they gave away the wrong pitcher for those 2 particular players. The Tampa Bay Rays not trading Chris Archer. Archer's value was pretty high a couple years ago. The Rays decided to keep him, and then his value declined. And now I don't think the Rays would get as much back as they would have thought that they would have maybe 2 or 3 years ago. The Texas Rangers signing Shin-Soo Choo. Yes, Choo's having his best season as a Ranger this year, courtesy of his little on-base streak that he is going. I believe it's like a crazy number, like 47 straight games. And Choo really hasn't lived up to that contract. I know the Rangers are trying to trade him within the last couple years and just to dump that contract. I think they would like to do that at the deadline this year because he's having a career year and finally made an all-star team. The Toronto Blue Jays not trading Josh Donaldson last winter. I think that they should have traded him last winter. His value was higher then than it is now because he's been hurt all year, and his value is very, very low right now. Washington Nationals trading for Adam Eaton. I think this was a mistake because he's been hurt a lot. He was hurt last year, He was hurt a little bit this year, and they gave up two pretty good pitchers in that deal, in Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez, although Giolito's not living up to what the White Sox thought or what the Nationals thought when they drafted him a few years ago. But Reynaldo Lopez has been pretty darn good in a White Sox uniform, and this trade might come back to haunt the Nationals someday, because Adam Eaton just isn't the player that Washington thinks he is. That's the bottom line, and he's been hurt a lot as well. That's it for the worst of the MLB since 2013, and that's it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow recapping baseball games from today, looking ahead to tomorrow's games, going over the France-Belgium game, looking ahead to tomorrow's World Cup game, and we'll do the worst of the NBA since 2013, and we'll talk about the Summer League as well, and go over any other breaking sports news around the sports world. If you would like to subscribe to this podcast, click the subscribe button if you want to listen to future podcasts when they come out. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.